Mr. President, Your Excellencies, Director General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and I bring you warm greetings from the people of the Republic of Vanuatu. Mr. President, on this auspicious occasion of the celebration of 100 years of the International Labour Organization and the 108th International Labour Conference, let me express our heartiest congratulations to the organization. The longevity of a journey that arose from the ashes, ravages and ruins of the war in 1919 indicates to the world that the International Labour Organization was established on sound, forward-looking and justified standing. Today we continue to adhere to the principles which established the ILO. Vanuatu stands united with the international community in supporting the ongoing work of the organization. We recognize the ever-changing environment, the evolution of human beings' behavior, the changes to the standards and the evolving aspirations of humanity have not diluted the established ILO principles. Those principles have withstood the test of time, and Vanuatu is particularly pleased to be associated with them. This conference is dedicated to the future of work, and we are delighted to acknowledge the formulation and the launching of the report of the future of work. They give and highlight to us the challenges which we are encountering and will face, and for which we will determine work, the opportunities and choices for each person, families and communities in times ahead. And it thus gives us as well the possibilities of the standard of living and the health of the world we all live in. Mr. President, it is the choices and decisions that we make presently which will determine our future. During this conference, the views will be expressed that the emergence of artificial intelligence and robotics will have significant impact to our future and our work. All well and good, but what is the use of these developments if we cannot feed ourselves and provide for others? What is the use of these advancements if one cannot provide water, shelter and clothing to men, women and children? In fact, what good are all these developments if countries like Vanuatu face climate change challenges? We, Vanuatu, are a part of the community who call ourselves Big Ocean States, BOS, and where climate change remains the most significant threat to our human society and sustainable development. In Vanuatu's case, we remain the most vulnerable country on the planet, and we face extreme events such as floods, drought, tropical cyclones, earthquakes, tsunamis and volcanic eruptions. With man-made negative effects of climate caused and determined by the work that men and women have done over time, we wonder if the direction imposed on us by the absorption of the jobs and future work will do justice to our communities. The influence, power, energy and authority of mankind, resulting in the creation of industries, formation of changing consumption behaviors, and the degradation of our environment, and the future jobs they create are a challenge. The big ocean states like Vanuatu and others in the vast Pacific Ocean will make numerous choices, but we will be limited by the threat of climate change, destruction of our homes and livelihoods. The threat of climate change to the planet is here. We must address this together. So I call on the international community to recognize and take on their responsibilities on climate. Mr. President, labor is often seen as a commodity, and therefore workers' rights are not given the reverence it deserves. It is true that we must demand workers' rights, but equally we cannot ignore the need for profit for our businesses. And profit for enterprises must not be the main consideration. And there should not be any shortcuts to economic growth at the expense of workers, our businesses and environment. Governments, employers and workers are all together on this. Therefore, having a balance is fundamental to success. Mr. President, countries like Vanuatu lack many resources, limited revenues, capacity constraints to carry out necessary development programs, struggling tripartite institutions and limited organizational capacity within the social partners. On the ratification of conventions related to employment instruments, I am pleased to inform you that the Vanuatu is now taking steps and has commenced the process of ratification. This process may take a number of years, but we commit to completing those as part of our obligations to our peoples. Finally, Mr. President, Vanuatu as a least development country, LDC, is expected to graduate out from LDC status in 2020, that is next year. Despite this impending graduation, we recognize that we will need increased support from our friends and partners. We call on the ILO family to support Vanuatu as we transition out from the LDC group and to increase development efforts to the small island developing states, the small and vulnerable economies, SVEs, and to the big ocean states of which Vanuatu is part of. We thank you all in anticipation of the support, and we look forward to a bold and clear declaration on the future of work from this conference. Mr. President, thank you too much.